financial stewardship. The very first thing we need to understand about finances is that we are stewards of what God has given us. The American Heritage Dictionary defines a steward as a person who manages another's property, finances, or any other affairs. As Christians, we need to recognize that the money we have is not really ours. It's a gift from God. Without the blessing of God upon your life, we wouldn't even have the ability to prosper. I know we are out in the world actually doing the work and we get paid for, but we need to develop the mindset that the money we receive doesn't belong to us, it belongs to God. Remember, God gave us our talents and our abilities, and every good thing we have is a blessing from God Himself. God has entrusted us with all our finances, and it is important to develop the mindset of being a steward over God's money, not ours. Most separate their lives into spiritual matters like heaven and hell, and private personal matters like career and finances. When it comes to money, they think it's all up to them. As a result, many Christians are struggling financially, but God wants to be the source of everything in their lives. He never intended people to carry the burden of financial responsibility, and He wants to lift that burden from them. This simple change in mindset from owner to steward will make a tremendous difference for you. The first step towards becoming responsible with your finances is to get this mindset that money does not belong to you. Instead of clinging to your money, you need to think, I am a steward of what God has entrusted to me. God has blessed me with these talents and abilities. God has blessed me with my job. God has put me into a prosperous nation and the most prosperous time in all history. God is blessing me, and God has given me all of the resources I have. It is not up to me to run my finances the way I want to. I am a steward. People with an ownership mentality end up trying to do everything themselves, but stewards freely receive God's blessings. If you look at how blessed Abram was in Genesis 12 from verse 1 to 3, let me read. Now the Lord has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show you, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse him that curse you, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed. When you read the entire story of Abram, you see that God wasn't talking about intangible spiritual benefits. He was actually talking about physical, earthly blessings. Abram was not wealthy because of his shrewd business sense or because God rewarded his great integrity. He was prosperous because God promised to bless him and make his name great. It was purely the favor of God that made him rich. In the same way, your efforts are not the source of prosperity in your life. Even Abram's nephew Lot benefited from the blessing of God on Abram. Both their flocks and herds grew to be so big that they couldn't occupy the same land. Abram took Lot up to a hilltop so they could look out over the whole land. One part of the land was a well-watered plain, lush with grass. The other part was dry. It isn't surprising that Lot chose the well-watered land for himself. No one who relies on natural circumstances and their own efforts for prosperity would ever give up a well-watered plain for their animals. But Abram knew God was his source, no matter what things look like to the naked eye. Right after Abram allowed Lot to take the better land, God appeared to him and promised him even more prosperity than Abram had already experienced.